is another episode of the Backstage Sports Podcast. I'm Joe Connor. Our guest host today is the homie Warren. I call him Warren G. He's filling in for JT. Tell the people what's up, Warren. Introduce yourself a little bit.
What's going on? My name is Warren. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on, Joe.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. So, Warren is sitting in for JT. JT got a case of the Rona, but he's doing okay. Yeah, it was a last minute thing. But yeah, so get well, JT. His son, his little son Austin, ended up catching the the virus, and then I think he got it from Austin. So he's down. Austin is okay, thankfully, and he's just down. He said he's not feeling great, but he's doing okay, and he's at home. So it's not a dire situation. But Warren was so kind to take out the time to come kick it with us today. We have a very special guest. We have a super cool human being, a super dope person, an even better human being to hang around with and to kick it with and to talk to and to conversate with. But he's also an amazing musician. He was recently, he can tell you a little bit about it. We will talk a little bit about it. But I think most recently I saw him out with Cynthia Erivo, who was which I think she was the Aretha role. They have the new movie Aretha coming out that has Jennifer Hudson in it. But if you saw Cynthia's Aretha, you probably don't even need to see just no shade, but you probably don't need to see Jennifer's Aretha. But she killed it. It's Al Cleveland. Al Cleveland, what's up? Welcome to the show, bro.
What's up, Joe? What's up, guys? Thanks for having me today, man. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for taking out the time to kick it with us. We're gonna talk a little football today. Is a lot of stuff happening. Cam Newton gets dropped. The NFL drops the unvaccinated protocol. The Bears named a starter, and it wasn't who everybody thought it was going to be. And we're going to try to get some preseason picks in there before we get out of here. But first, Al, tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you, and the work that you've been doing with the wonderful Cynthia.
Man, I started working with Cynthia during the pandemic. Actually, she was working on her brand new record that honestly I don't know if the entire album is out yet or if they're just dropping singles. But during the pandemic, I
Yeah,
had
it was just singles the last time I checked because she dropped that the one John Remember the Good or whatever, which I
yes,
love. It's a banger. And I
yes.
think the last time I checked it was just that. She might have just dropped another single.
So I played drums on the Good
Oh, come
from
on. Yeah.
my
Love that
remote
record.
studio. And if you remember, Joe, we actually talked once during the pandemic
Mm-hmm.
on the podcast, and that's when I was actually building out my remote studio. And so I actually record all the songs that I played on the record for
Mm-hmm.
her was done there. Hadn't met her yet, hadn't done anything in person, and then
Mm-hmm.
as things have started to open back up, she's been doing some TV spots, and I've been
Yeah.
able to hop in there and do. I haven't done all of them. I haven't been able to do all of them, but I've done a
Mm-hmm.
couple. So, and she's a force, man.
Yeah.
Easily top five vocalist I've ever heard. Period.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
At this
She's a
point,
beast. Yeah.
so I'm honored to be able to sit behind every so often sit behind a vocalist of that caliber.
1,000%. It always makes a gig sweeter. One
Yes, sir.
thousand percent. So let's get into it. Because we're taking Al away from daddy duty. And this is Warren's day off. Y'all know Warren. Warren is always working. He ain't never got a day off. So first and foremost,
Absolutely.
the Patriots released Cam Newton. Um, a lot of thoughts on this. I am I was surprised. I don't know what was your initial reaction to this when this first happened. Mine's was I was shocked. I didn't think that this would happen this soon. I wasn't expecting Cam to make it through the entire football season with how it sounded like they was feeling about the kid Mac Jones and everything. But I was kind of shocked when I heard that they released him just about a day ago. Uh Al, what was your response when you heard about that?
I was shocked. I was shocked only because it's been very clear. Belichick has made it very clear that he liked. Well, it seemed like he liked Cam.
Yeah,
The locker room liked him as well. Uh, Besides the COVID thing that happened, I mean, personally, I feel like COVID threw him off last season.
right.
Uh, Prior to that, he had some really good games. Especially close to the goal line. I didn't think that they were going to release him. I don't know that I was sold on him being the starting quarterback this year,
Yeah,
but for him to get released, I was definitely surprised.
yeah. What you think, Warren?
We're going to move on from Cam, of course. That wasn't the long
Yeah,
term solution. You draft a quarterback in the first round, you're going to play him. I mean, that's a
yeah,
must. But when were they going to play him? Like you said, middle of the season when things gets a little rocky. I can see them pulling Cam and putting
yeah,
uh, the rookie in Jones in. But well, I guess I think the COVID protocol had something to do with it as well. And I
yeah.
also
We were
think
gonna get to
that
that.
Jones had a good preseason.
Yeah.
And when Jones had a good preseason, you drafted him first round,
Hmm.
and then because the thing is, they didn't just bench him; they released him. So
Yeah,
I think we all know Cam is better than Hoyer. So I
yeah.
mean, we agree
And
on
they
that,
released
correct?
him. They released Hoyer too.
Okay, so
I think to your point, which is not really being talked about that much. I feel like uh Cam's vaccination status definitely played into this. Because Al mentioned that
oh yeah,
Cam didn't make it through last year because of a COVID situation. And I was a little bit disappointed in him getting cut because I wanted to see him in a fair situation be able to really like have a full off season with better talent this year than they had last year. And I wanted to see what he had left because I see people out there trashing Cam, talking about Cam is done. Somebody was just arguing with me on Facebook a couple hours ago, talking about Cam is burnt, he's done, da 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 da. And I'm like, that's to me, that's not a fair label to throw on him, especially when we didn't really get to see him at full health. He was playing pretty good before he had to miss all those games last year.
Right.
And he didn't really have a full, he didn't get a full off season last year. Plus, you had the COVID stuff going on at its height for real, for real. So
eight
I thought
players
that it
didn't
was,
play, eight starters didn't play,
yeah, right. So I thought
eight
that it would
starters
have
didn't
been,
play. You know,
yeah, I thought it would have been really good to see how he looked with all things being equal in this
mm,
in this in this off season going into the season. And I think that he did himself a disservice by one no understanding what happened with everything last year and still choosing not to get vaccinated because what I've heard from some of the Patriots insiders is that his choice to not get vaccinated caused some turmoil among the higher ups and trying to make a decision because of what the league came out and said about the unvaccinated player protocol. And if you guys didn't hear about the unvaccinated player protocol, basically the NFL came out and said, if any teams or any games are missed due to unvaccinated players, it is going to result in a loss by forfeit.
Right.
Um, and
And
you're
is
not
it
going
a
to be
fine too? Is it a fine as well?
I about to say, I think it might be a fine or unpaid. Like you're not
Yes,
getting paid, so you're missing these games, and you're not getting paid for these games either. So not only are you messing with these players and these teams win loss record, but you're also messing with their pockets.
right.
So I understand the teams going. We really, if it's close and we got to pick somebody, we're gonna pick the guy who's vaccinated, and it's just we're just in a weird time where that's got to be a part of the conversation. Yeah, I see it even happening now in music. Like I've gotten hit up for a couple gigs because of some drummers who were supposed to be, they were supposed to be on a festival or two or doing a tour or two, and they didn't want to get vaccinated. Um, People are losing work. I've heard the same thing about it in the restaurant industry. There was
Yeah.
this restaurant that came out a couple months ago. They were kind of the first to do it. Now I've heard it in multiple spaces, but they came out and basically said, if you are a waitress here starting September 1st or whatever, if you're not vaccinated, you can't work here anymore. Sorry. And so that's just kind of where it's going. I've seen stadiums do it. The Raiders were the first to come out and say everybody that comes through this new stadium has to be vaccinated. So I felt for Cam because I felt like he got a raw deal, but I also felt like he brought this on himself. Am I like what do you think? Where do you land as far as that dynamic? As far as did they did he get a fair chance? And is it his fault because of the vaccination thing?
I don't think he. I don't know that he didn't get a fair chance, but I think that his circumstances. like for instance, he missed all those games last year, so we didn't really get a chance to really see
Right.
him if like see the full picture.
Right.
Now the vaccination thing is that's tough. Like there's people have different opinions on that, but I do know that he's not the only NFL player that is rubbed the wrong way about having to get these vaccinations. So I guess in
Right.
one sense you can say he brought it on himself, but I really it's a sticky situation, man. I really don't even know how to answer that because the NFL, the NFL is going to do what they're going to do,
Yeah.
and there's no fighting that. So if you decide to go against the grain, you just gotta pay the piper,
Yeah, the thing, and it's tricky because you know you want to allow people to do what they're going to do and make their own choices, right? But at the same time, these businesses, these are private companies.
Right.
They don't seem like it because it's called it's called the Cincinnati Bengals, and it's like Cincinnati don't own that team. Like what I'm saying. That team has a set of owners, except for the Green Bay Packers. Nobody, Los Angeles doesn't own the Rams. The Rams used to be in St. Louis. You know what I mean? If you know the history of the team, so these businesses can make decisions how they see fit during the vaccine and however they want to navigate through this COVID space. And at this point, it's looking like it's moving closer and closer towards teams man basically mandatory, making it mandatory that their players have to be vaccinated. So you got to make a decision, especially if you're in a situation like Cam, where you're like, this kid, it's going to availability is the best ability, right? So the first thing is I lost time last year because I was dealing with some COVID BS, right? And with the way they came out with the new NFL protocols for unvaccinated versus vaccinated players, it's a lot more lax with the vaccinated players. You don't miss as much time. You don't have to quarantine off in some foreign land away from the team and all this other stuff. So I think that is, when I say he brought it on himself, it's like, dude, you understood, you had last year to go through to understand the predicament that you're going to be in, and you're in a situation where your career is kind of teetering. So you kind of got to get down or lay down because you're not like Lamar Jackson. There aren't a lot of NFL players that are on active rosters that are unvaccinated. Right now, it's only 7%. So only 7% of NFL players are unvaccinated, right? Lamar Jackson is one of them, but you're not Lamar Jackson, right? So he has more leeway to get away with whatever. He has a longer rope to hang himself if they miss games because he's unvaccinated, and he has to go into some COVID protocol because he was, whatever it is. He has a longer leash. So I think if you're Cam Newton, you got to know, like, I don't have a leash like that. So if they telling me I need to get vaccinated and I got this kid breathing down my neck, I got to do what I got to do. If I want to play, it's it's also up to you if you want to play this sport. This is a privilege. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to be in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So it's a choice that you got to make. So it's tricky, but I understand both sides of it. So I although I'm with you, Al, where I'm like, I wanted to see him get a fair shake. I also feel like, damn, bro, like you didn't really help yourself in this situation. Like, what do
It's
you,
like
where
you
you?
said. It's like you said
Yeah,
before. Like even with the music stuff, it's like, dude, like we're in a position right now where you know what? Unfortunately, if I want to work, if we want to work, the deal is all of these management companies are saying you need to be vaccinated, you need to
yep,
do this. So if for my own personal whatever decide not to do that, then once again, that's my choice. And if
yeah,
I don't work from that, then that's on me. So I feel what you're
yeah,
saying.
Well, the Patriots don't play, so like you said, get down, lay down.
yeah.
Patriots, they don't want no bumps in the road. They don't want no extra things. When the league starts saying consequences on the teams, it's going to be automatic losses. You should know right
Mm,
away. Belichick not playing.
right.
And I think Josh McDaniels also wants to go back to the offense he kind of want to run instead of that
Mm-hmm,
running the power thing
mm-hmm,
that they ran like a little bit last year. I think
yeah,
they kind of want to go back to their offense they had before, kind of like when they had Brady.
yeah,
Dink and dunking it, nicking and diming it, getting it down the field, getting
mm-hmm,
first down, stuff like that. So I think it's a
yeah,
style of play too, as well. And
yeah.
then also I heard about Hoyer. They were thinking about signing him back just on a lesser contract,
I
signing
heard
him
that
back. And that was
too.
like a
Yeah,
cap thing.
yeah,
I don't know how
yeah. I
true it
heard.
is, but I heard that as well.
Yeah, I heard that was just a cat move. So the next obvious question is, what is the next move for Cam? Like, so for me, in arguing with some people, going back with some people online, um, I thought right away, like, you can't say that Cam should go be a backup because I can think of two places off the curve without even doing research. And I'm talking about when this first happened. Like, when this first happened, I can give you two destinations where Cam can go and be a starting quarterback right now. The first one was Denver and their quarterback situation, and the second one was Washington and their quarterback situation. He can go right now to me to either one of those teams and be a starter. And then I think if you dig and you look at some of these other starting quarterbacks on the other team, you probably can make arguments for other teams outside of those two. And then you have the Texans, right? You have the Texans with the Deshaun Watson, where you don't even know if he's going to be on a commissioner's exempt list to
Right.
start the season. You don't even know if he's going to be available. And so if you're the Texans, why wouldn't Cam be attractive to you as well, right? Because you're not even talking about somebody you have to trade for. You can just go pick him up off the scrap heap, right? So that's three teams right now in three situations where Cam could realistically be a starter, right? So where are you guys at where you think Cam's next move should be? Do you think he's out of the league? Do you think he sits out a whole year? Or do you see him going to one of these other teams in these other situations, Al?
Honestly, I think Cam to the Texans would actually be the best move, especially because from what I understand, he don't even want to be. Deshaun don't even want to be there.
Right,
Like regardless.
right.
But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if he sit out because the NFL is a good old boy network, and at the end of the day, like if you don't have personal relationships with these higher ups, it's like Cam is a guy that even though he was an MVP, we haven't been, it's an unfair thing, but we haven't been able to really see how he gets down. I could see him kind of just slipping through the cracks, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that too. I mean, it's also a situation where he's behind the eight ball, no matter where he goes. So again, it's not going to be a fair situation. It's not going to be a fair fight. You got all these guys who's already been in camp. They've already gone
Right.
through. They know the offense, all of that stuff. So it's gonna be tough for him wherever he goes, and it's not going to be as good a situation as he would have had with the Patriots. But it's definitely, to me, he definitely can go somewhere and be a starter. The idea that he just has to accept his role as being a backup right now at 30, what is he, 34, 33? Like, Cam's
It's
not
that.
even,
It's that.
yeah. So I just don't
Yeah,
agree
I think
with
he's
this
33.
idea that he has to go be a backup somewhere. Like, he has to do that. He has to accept his role as a backup. Where are you at with that, Warren?
I don't think he has to, but I think it'd be good for him because, like you said, he's behind the eight ball. Like Al said, we haven't really seen him at full strength. We haven't really seen him do his thing for whatever reason. Um, I think going to the Texans it could be a shit show down. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about
No,
that.
you good. We
It
yeah,
could be
we
a dumpster
raw.
fire. Okay, it could be a dumpster fire down there. You know, I believe a team will pick him up. I don't necessarily think he has to go to like a Washington or a place and to start. You just need to be in the mix and then get
Yeah.
ready for next year. You don't know what might happen this year. Like the Dallas Cowboys, it was a good little backup. They got rid of Gilbert. They released him. I think they released the other one, the other quarterback as well. Go
hmm
behind Dak Prescott. He might not make it
Yeah.
through the season. If you don't, then you get to play. If not, you're in good standings with the organization there, and then you also can move around to other places from there. You don't want to turn a negative into a double negative. If you
Right.
get what I'm saying.
I feel
Right.
that.
That's all.
I feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not mad at that. I just want him to
Yeah.
be able to get a fair shot at being a starting quarterback, because
Let me
I
ask you
think,
a question, Joe. Let me ask
yeah,
you a question. How do you feel about Cam? Let me ask both of you guys a question, actually. How do y'all feel about Cam as a passer, like throwing the football?
I feel like he's good enough. If Taysom Hill can be a starting quarterback, which people wanted to argue that he was, and that he should have even not have been, she should have beat out Jameis, right? If Tim Tebow can actually play playoff games at a quarterback at QB1 position, I think for sure Cam Newton is a good enough passer, is a good enough pocket passer to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I mean, if I just pure comparison to other people who have started in the league, you can't tell me that Cam is at the bottom of all of those lists.
No,
You
no
know?
doubt, no doubt. I only brought. I'm not even playing devil's advocate. I just brought it up because that's something that you always hear.
Yeah,
That it's always brought up. I
yeah,
would say.
We haven't seen him healthy all the way. Like we
yeah,
got a piece, but the piece we got was like tainted because COVID and eight starters not playing on a. The defense wasn't there, and he did all right.
yeah,
He did all right. I think he can play. He just needs to be. Needs to be given the opportunity, and
yeah,
like you said, a fair shot. And I don't want him to go to a starting job on a team and be like, okay, he started there. That's his fair shot. When technically it kind of wasn't. He's just getting the playbook now. The teams aren't good. The teams you named, Joe, aren't really that good. You know,
yeah.
but you don't want. I don't want him sitting out the whole season either. So yeah, he's
Hmm.
he's not a backup quarterback, and he can start at many places. But
Yeah.
just because you can do that doesn't mean that's the best answer or the best thing he should do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Al Cleveland, thanks so much for joining us today on the show. Please tell the people where they can follow and support anything that you got coming up next.
Man, I'm trying to do better about my social media, but the
Yeah.
only one that's super active right now is my Instagram. It's A Cleveland.
Yeah.
That's A
Like the
C
rest of us.
Landii. A Cleveland 3. So you check me out on there.
Okay. Okay, dope. I'm at Joe Connor 33 on everything. Make sure that you guys like and follow on whatever platform it is that you frequent the most. Whether you watch on YouTube or you watch on Instagram or Facebook, just make sure you go over to those pages and give us a follow. It helps. And wherever you stream it. So if you're streaming on iHeartRadio or Spotify or whatever, make sure you go over to Backstage at Backstage Sports on any of those platforms and give us a follow because that also helps keep this thing going. It's been hard for the past couple of months because I've been torn and JT has been doing a bunch of stuff and getting his singles, and he's been out doing spot dates here and there. I know he was just in San Diego, which he also thinks he might have caught COVID from his show in San Diego. So
Wow.
so we've been outside. So we are gonna try to keep the train on the tracks as the world opens up and hopefully stays open. Keep an eye out for us as we are making moves around here. I'm home for a little bit right now because I'm on break for the Tiger Blood tour. The third leg is going to start in a couple weeks. September 14th, I think, is the first date. So we're going to be heading down south for this leg. So make sure if you're down south, you come holler at us, go get tickets. You can find all the dates on my social media page or the band otherwisemusic.com where you can go get tickets. Make sure that you keep an eye out for that. And come say what's up, come hang if I'm in your area. And you know, we've given away tickets. Like we would just be in a Starbucks and ask the girl, hey, you want to come to the show tonight? And we gave a ticket. So we not bullshitting. Like if you hit me, if you DM me and you say, if you DM me and you tell me I listen to the podcast, I will put you on the list for wherever we at.
All right, you can find me at OGWG Instagram. Hey
Yeah,
man, I had a
man.
great time. Hey, I'm a fan now. I'm a guest host. So JT get better.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for taking the time and filling in for JT. Everybody keep JT and the family in your thoughts and prayers. This COVID thing is not a joke. We get like lulled into this false sense of like, oh, we're back to normal. You know what I mean? Because this kind of is our new normal. And then it touches somebody close to home. We had a homie, I don't know if Al knows this information, but we had a homie from college, our boy Chad, which some of you guys know. He's been on the podcast. He was in the hospital due to COVID for a couple of weeks. And he's young and he's our age. And so it's like people kind of get into this space of like, I'm good, I'm young, and I'm out here. And it can affect anybody, and you don't know how it's going to affect you, so just continue to be watchful and mindful and take it seriously. If you're not vaccinated, I would just encourage you to do your research and get vaccinated, because it's real out here. And not only that, but the world is closing up smaller for the non-vax. It's just the way it's going for the
Yeah.
non-vaccinated. It's just getting it's shrinking for you. Like people are throwing vaccinated only parties. The stadiums are saying vaccinated only. The shows are saying vaccinated only. Like it's just real. You know what I mean? So it's like that's just kind of where we are. You know what I mean? So just continue to be watchful and prayerful and be careful out here because we're not out of this thing unfortunately. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Please continue to share, like, and support. Until next time, be safe and be great. This has been another episode of the Backstage Sports Podcast. Peace.